Hello and welcome, kids, to the first of these lessons we'll be doing on a weekly basis, where we look at the lessons we've learned from Raw and Smackdown this week. And look at that! I'm getting better every video. Last time I switched to landscape, and this time I upgraded from my phone to this Canon Vixie I suddenly remembered I owned. Getting better by the day. Maybe the next video will have a set, huh? Not fucking likely. This week we saw the fallout from SummerSlam, which I did a video on that you can watch, but today we take a look at the highlights and humbly ask that they impart our minds with hot loads of knowledge. My name is Jeremy Goddamn Masters. Welcome to the Masterclass. We open with Roman coming to the ring and Brooklyn paying him back the booze they withheld from him on Sunday when he speared Brock Lesnar into Daniel Cormier's waiting arms and became the Universal Champion. Something about the bright lights and residual smoke from Balor's demon entrance had them all disoriented into thinking that they enjoyed what they were watching, but no such distractions would keep them from showering Roman with hate today. He gave the spiel he's been giving for months about showing up and defending the title, and then he announced that he'd be defending it tonight, and Brooklyn was right back on his side. I don't know, it's almost like they actually wanted the exact thing he's been promising them for months. Lesson 1. Deliver on your promises. They may not love you for it, but they can't say you didn't warn them. He followed up by announcing that he'd be offering the title shot to one man in particular, and that man was one Fergalicious Devitt Finn Balor, who sauntered up to that ring and faced down Roman in a moment, mustering the kind of sexual tension that only two of Helmsley's favorites can. But it was quickly broken when Baron Corbin interrupted, looking like an alternate universe Tommy Pickles if he grew up to be a 30-year-old incel. He said that Roman wasn't fighting Finn tonight, he was. But proving that he won't be out wet blanketed by a guy who's one pocket watch short of a steampunk convention chair, Kurt Angle came out to announce that Finn would fight Roman because Baron was already fighting Bobby Lashley, which turned out how you think it did. After that match, Paul Heyman showed up backstage to demand Brock's rematch for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell, and Kurt said no. End of segment. He just acknowledged that Brock was entitled to a rematch, but he wasn't going to give him one. Up next, Boss and Hug Connection, a name I wouldn't have even given Bayley and Sasha as a joke, teamed with Ember Moon to take on the Riot Squad, which ended with Ruby pitting Sasha off of a Riot Kick. This feud has been going on for months now, and Riot Squad are up something like $1 billion to 1 on Banks and Bayley. And the addition of Ember hasn't helped the pair, who do well to heed our second lesson moving forward. A 3-man band is always going to beat a 2-man band plus 1, and a metaphorical band of ass-kickers are always going to beat a team of kids who were in band. Triple H came to the ring next to promote the Australia's Super Showdown pay-per-view, and specifically his last ever match with The Undertaker, fittingly leading us to our third lesson. Everyone's time must come eventually, except Hunter's. This dude has had so many de facto retirement matches, it's getting beyond cliched at this point. I think we can fully expect to see him in his 90s taking on Road Dogg, and a winner gets a new pacemaker match. Next up, Dean Ambrose took on Dolph Ziggler with Seth and Drew at ringside and put him away with the dirty deeds. Good to see Dean back with a harder-hitting offensive style while keeping the same touched persona that's gotten him this far. Backstage, Braun tells Finn he'll be cashing in on the winner of this match with Roman, a strategy that panned out quite well for him at SummerSlam, which you can tell by the invisible belt around his waist. We got a few quick segments up next. Elias beat Kurt Hawkins in a surprisingly competitive match. You gotta hand it to Kurt. Few people could get the concept of being bad at wrestling over on a wrestling show. Authors of Pain took down Titus Worldwide, but some intermittent seeds were planted of a burgeoning romance between Apollo Crews and Dana Brooke. And, like, obviously, who wouldn't want to lock down a woman who can bend steel girders with her thighs? And on top of that, who wouldn't want to lock down a man who looks like an action figure that was recalled for giving young boys unrealistic expectations? Ronda had her championship celebration, hosted by Stephanie McMahon, whose arm she broke. Yes, I'm referring both to WrestleMania when she broke Steph's arm, and this segment where she broke Steph's arm again, with significantly less motivation this time. Mini lesson for Steph: stop fucking with Ronda. She has one method of conflict resolution. It seems like a bit of a fool me 3-time situation that you haven't sussed that out by now. Following that, we had 2 back-to-back singles matches between the B-Team and the Revival. First up was Bo Dallas versus Scott Dawson, which Dawson won. Second was Curtis Axel versus Dash Wilder, which Dash won. Following those back-to-back losses, the B-Team grabbed their belts and told the Revival that while they may be better at wrestling, there's one thing they don't have, and that's the tag team titles. Apparently the B stands for foreshadowing this week. Backstage, we had a bit of a shocker when Stephanie McMahon informs Kurt Angle that she's unhappy with the decisions he's been making, and his inability to control Ronda has made her lose faith in him, which is probably fair. She tells him that he has to take some time off, and that for the time being, Baron Corbin is the acting general manager of Monday Night Raw, which is definitely not. Finally, we got our main event, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor for the Universal Championship, and if you're wondering what kind of champion Roman's gonna be, it's one who steps up his game. Finn is a notoriously fast-paced wrestler, and Roman wasn't shy about matching him. These two went at each other like they were competing to be Wendy Styles' new daddy or some shit. But once again, Braun Strowman's theme hit, and Roman completely forgot he was in a match, allowing Finn to catch him with a sling blade. Finn got Roman in position for a coup de grace while Braun continued meandering up the ramp, but then Roman remembered who the fuck he is and rolled out of the way to set up for a spear, and a 1, 2, 3, Roman retains, but for how long? Braun enters the ring. He hands in his briefcase, and they even announce that he's cashed in, but before the bell has a chance to ring, who should show up on the ramp Rollins and Ambrose. Decked out in Shield attire, they run to Roman's aid, beating down Strowman like he owes him money. Lesson 5, kids, I am indecisive because I'm hot on friendship again, and I'm sure that's gonna last until at least an hour into Smackdown. Speaking of which, Miz and Maurice come to the ring to open Smackdown Live, and Miz, who I swear to El Santo is an actual actor, parodies Daniel Bryan's retirement speech to tell the audience that he won't be facing Daniel Bryan again, and at this moment the audience collectively hallucinated Ron Howard's voice doing a narration saying, but actually he would. Bryan made his entrance and walked to the ring, but instead of chanting yes, he took a cue from Frankie Lane and chanted coward instead. The back and forth went on for a bit before it was politely suggested that Bryan retire once more so he can spend some more time with his wife, oh fuck. Marking the first time in history anyone has ever cheered for Brie mode, Brie made her entrance, but unlike Daniel, she wasn't here to talk. She marched right into the ring and clocked Miz in the face, demonstrating her knowledge of game theory by going straight for the dominant strategy. Afterwards, Bryan announced that he and Brie would be facing Miz and Maurice at Hell in a Cell, but truth be told, he wasn't the one standing tall here. That would be Bella, because she heeded lesson 6. If your aim is to punch a face, open with that. We transitioned into what was probably a pay-per-view quality match between anthropomorphic Avenged Sevenfold wristband Jeff Hardy and a guy who should probably get those voices checked out by now, Randy Orton. And this fight, along with the fallout, can best be summed up in one enunciation. Damn! I'd say Jeff went after Randy like a man possessed here, but we all know that dude's head is a rotating timeshare of wacky ghosts. He gave Randy a beatdown that would have had a speed bag asking for a breather. Jeff got himself disqualified by cracking Orton's testes like raw eggs with his heel, and then just kept going. The carnage came to a crescendo when Hardy swantoned Orton from a suspiciously convenient 10-foot stack of road cases through a table, grinning like any white person remembering a John Mulaney bit. Following a quick match where Peyton Royce beat Naomi, Becky Lynch came to the ring to explain to the audience that she was a villain now, to which the audience said, nuh-uh. Becky reaffirmed that seriously, she was a bad person and you should all despise her, to which the audience replied, yeah, but nah though. They reinforced this denial by booing the ever-loving piss out of newly crowned SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, who came out to get even on Becky. The crowd made certain that there was no mistaking whose side they were on here by chanting for Becky while the women's locker room emptied to pull them apart. Hopefully the writers keep our 7th lesson in mind when moving forward in this story. Go with the flow. In spite of the fact that Charlotte did literally nothing wrong, you're never going to get the popular, attractive, naturally talented jock to be the sympathetic character here. And you can't keep having Lynch spurning the audience's affections when they're clearly not going to let up anytime soon. They're going to love her, and they're going to keep loving her until the end of time, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do to change that. Becky's going to get cheered by crowds of thousands of people who will continue to buy her merchandise every week. She's just going to have to learn to live with that. Next up, we got our first rematch from Sunday when Rusev and Lana took on Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Aiden English was nowhere to be seen when the Slavs made their entrance after weeks of accidentally costing them matches. These guys have been through every combination of one another over the past month or so, and this was by far the best match they've put on. It was hard-hitting, it was fast-paced, it showcased the varied movesets of Rusev and Almas, and Lana and Zelina were also there. No offense to Lana or Vega, who are certainly improving rapidly in their in-ring careers, but I was happy to see that Rusev and Andrade had the brunt of the ring time in this match. Things got a bit crazy near the end of the match. Almas was in control and he got Rusev in the corner. He hit him with the double knees, and I was pretty sure this was the end of the match, but Rusev defied the odds in 8 months of NXT booking and kicked out of the double knees. He rallied to a comeback and clotheslined Andrade over the rope. Zelina took umbrage to this and entered the ring to give him a piece of her mind, but Lana followed shortly after, spearing Vega and providing enough of a distraction to keep Rusev blissfully unaware of El Idolo bringing a steel chair into the ring. But returning like a consensual phoenix from the ashes, Aiden English grabbed the chair from his hands, buying enough time for Rusev to regain focus. Machka kick, accolade, tap, tap, tap. The segment ended with Rusev and Lana gratefully smiling to Aiden English. No lesson here, just wholesome family content. Smash cut to the exact opposite of that. AJ Styles had an interview with Renee Young where he briefly apologized for losing his cool on Samoa Joe, who Beetlejuiced his way into the segment and rocked AJ to sleep with a warm paternal neck hug, before screaming some more elocutions about daddies to Wendy Styles, who presumably was at home seriously considering his proposal. Joe's got the upper hand here. He's clearly got AJ shook, and it's all thanks to his mastering of Lesson 8. Know your enemy. You might be thinking that the endgame here is to get AJ to question his worth as a man, father, and husband, but the seeds have already been planted for a much larger victory. Think about it. What does AJ hate more than anything in this world? That's right, the gay community. The exact community that all this daddy talk is going to attract. And if you were worried about them when they were your fans, AJ, you ain't seen nothing until you've incurred their wrath. Backstage, Carmella secured a rematch against Charlotte for the Women's Championship next week that she's going to lose. But then we headed back out to the ring for our second SummerSlam rematch of the night, The New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship in a no disqualification match. Big E was out with a rib injury, so we got Kofi and Xavier versus Harper and Rowan, who was apparently nursing a bicep injury of his own. Final lesson, students, there is literally no disadvantage to making your tag team a stable. I would love to break down this entire match, but it was long, it was fast-paced, and it was painful to watch. Table spots, chair spots, ladder spots, hammer spots. This was the Bludgeon Brothers in their element. But their brand of chaos just couldn't overcome the New Day's brand of control. It all came crashing down when Xavier pinned Luke Harper off a top rope elbow drop through a table. And miles away, somewhere in Yonkers, Tommy Dreamer got an erection so violent that he briefly lost his vision. New Day are now your 5-time tag team champs. I feel the power and class. That's where we're going to leave it for today. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and come back soon for more lessons from me, Jeremy Goddamn Masters. This has been the Masterclass. You're welcome.